While students are learning letter sounds, it's important that they are making sound-symbol connections. The Project Read curriculum includes a number of VAKT tools to help students make these connections while practicing proper letter formation. In this final video, you will see a demonstration for letter formation using the Writing the Alphabet book, glued letters, and felt paper, as well as procedures for skywriting and memory box. First, let's discuss letter formation. We will be using this checklist to practice each step in the process. First, students will open their Writing the Alphabet book to the letter being taught in this lesson. Second, teacher will discuss the letter placement and letter strokes. Third, the student will practice the letter strokes using VAKT strategies. And finally, felt paper and glued paper will be used to reinforce the placement of letters on paper.
Now that we've practiced the letter sound "ah" and have built words with that sound, we're going to practice writing that sound. So to start, we're going to get out our Writing the Alphabet book. And we're going to turn to the first page that has the letter A on it. And now I'm going to show you how we're going to practice writing this lowercase a, and then I'll give you a chance to try. So we start by taking our pointer finger and we place it on the starting dot right here. That shows us where we put our finger when we're getting ready to write that letter. And now, to write the lowercase letter A, we swing and slide. So you're going to try that with me. You're going to start by placing your finger here, and we're going to say it together and do the motion. Swinging, slide. Swinging, slide. Now you give it a try. And remember to start with your finger at the starting point.
Swinging, slide.
Excellent. Now try it 2 more times. See if you can do it.
Swinging, slide. Swinging,
That's
slide.
right. We put our finger here, swinging, slide. Excellent. Now that you've got that, let's try doing it with our felt paper. Now instead of putting our finger at a starting point, we're going to put our finger on this dotted line in the middle. That's called the rick-rack. So we'll put our finger there and we'll say the same thing and do the same motion. Swinging, slide. Let me do it again. Ready? Swinging, slide. Now you try. Place your finger on the rick-rack, do the motions, and say swinging, slide.
Swinging, slide.
You got it. That was great. Now let's try the same thing again, but on our glued letters. So this time you see the lowercase a and it has some glue on it with a texture that you can feel. And just like before, we put our finger on the starting point and we say swinging, slide. Swinging, slide. Now you try.
Swinging, slide.
That's right. You got it.
The next VAKT tool that we will discuss is skywriting. This is the practice where students will meld sound and symbols together. Here's a brief checklist we will use for this process. First, the teacher snaps a finger to signal to students to hold up their first 2 fingers. Second, the teacher says aim, press, at the letter displayed in the pocket chart. Third, the teacher says do and say. And finally, the teacher and students say the letter sound out loud while tracing the letter in the air. Unlike letter formation, the students are saying the letter sound this time. Let's see what this process looks like.
Now we're going to practice skywriting the letter A, and we're going to use this A that's on display next to me. Ready? Aim, press, do and say. Ah. Great, let's try that again. Aim, press, do and say. Ah. You got it. You just used skywriting to practice the letter A.
The final VAKT strategy is memory box. This is the strategy where students will use a small container of sand or salt to continue practicing letter formation. It is important to note that memory box should only be used after the Writing the Alphabet book, glued letter, felt paper, and skywriting practice has taken place. The following steps will guide the memory box process. First, the teacher says the sound. Second, the student places 1 finger in the sand or salt and draws the letter while saying the sound out loud. Finally, if the student makes a mistake while drawing a letter in the memory box, the teacher says check, shakes the memory box to erase the errors, and the student starts again.
Now we're going to practice using the memory box to write the letter A. So remember, when you make the letter, you're going to say the sound that it makes. You can begin when I say the sound. Ready? Ah.
Ah.
Check. You can look up here at the letter card to help you remember how to make the letter A. Ready? Ah.
Ah.
You got it. Nice job.